Hello everyone, this is Shoddy Noctiles, and tonight I want to share a very, I think insightful video with you guys. I know I've done some videos where I've shared Ancestry before, but I figured it would be nice to do another video series of kind of sharing this again because I've done a bit more research on my ancestry, most notably some of my native ancestry. Actually did a report on genomelink.com and or not yeah, no, it's GenomeLink, and they kind of gave me a good report for my native ancestry. It was totaled around 16%, and I found out that one of the groups I was connected to, being some of the people of Patagonia, like the Mapuche, who are also kind of connected to the Tlingit in a way. Probably because they both sailed from Japan, thousands of years ago as Jomon people, and they traveled from, through the seas of Polynesia and the Pacific Ocean to eventually get to parts of the Pacific Northwest and the um, and Patagonia. This is probably why they both had similar phenotypes. It's just kind of what I kind of looked at when I was playing with Genoplot. But anyways, they are connected to the indigenous Jomon people, or the people of Hokkaido, or well, not just Hokkaido, but the entire islands of Japan, because the Jomon people had lived there for thousands of years, even around up to 10,000 years. And these were the people that had sailed into the Americas and have become some of the indigenous people that we know of today. So this is why they've done kind of connections of the some of the Pacific Northwestern tribes, such as the Tlingit and the Haida, being connected to the people of Hokkaido or the Ainu, or really the Jomon. And that is the same thing too with some of the people of Patagonia, as well as some of the Quechua and other tribes in South America. And there might even be a connection with those in Mexico. I saw a video of this Japanese guy saying that mine was essentially modern Japanese, kind of reading some of the ancient Mayan um, kind of writing, as it were. Kind of reminds me a bit of hieroglyphics in a way, and it's really interesting to see that connection. Um, but anyways, let me show you what I got on some of my reports on Genome Link. Um, I don't know if I already went through this one yet, but in a previous video, but this kind of shows, or kind of is just kind of one report of uh, European ancestry it had for me, most notably being Spanish, also Southern Italian. Makes me think of yeah, I watched this YouTuber named Debbie Solaris, and she's always saying, I'm Italian," And I know that certain parts of northern Italy and southern Italy are sometimes different. I had other reports saying that I'm also connected to the northern Italians as well, which some say are also connected to the Iberians. But I can hear Debbie saying, we're all the same, or I don't know, but it's uh, it's just interesting to see the connection there, because I think I might have had a connection that I found from Malta, and Malta is an island off the coast of Italy, um, and kind of closer to parts of North Africa, so it's kind of right there. I just see Italy kind of with the boot, you know. It's like it wants to kick something, but anyways, don't do that to Sicily though. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, this is just kind of a report that I had gotten, and if you see here, it talks about how the southern half of Italy and Sicily was essentially a kind of area of uh, where for ancient Greeks, which makes sense because Greece is really close to the southern part of Italy, and they used to call it Magna Graecia, uh, and this was a an important place for the Greeks when Athens was in decline. Of course, they had some invasions later on from a number of other groups. Um, but yeah, no, I've always, like it says here, tincture, Greek genes, Roman, Greek, Moorish, Catalonian, or Catalan. Yeah. Yeah, so no, I think for me, like when I think about Italy, because like, I do have some Italian ancestry from my mother's side, and I there's this website I use called True Ancestry, and see if I can get this to work. So when I looked at the places I was kind of connected to in Italy, and some of you guys may find this interesting. Yeah, DNA travel. Hold on. Yeah, so of course it connects me to places like Ireland and Kilburn Castle in Scotland. And then I had some other places I was connected to, quite a bit actually, like Villa Magna, and this is connected to the Romans, I think. Lasso, Italy. This is near Rome, or pretty much in Rome. I actually went to Rome uh, several years ago. It's probably more than several years now. Probably 6 to 8 years now. I went there with my mom and her boyfriend for a week in Italy, and I went to Rome and Florence, and people were very friendly there. They were kind to us. They had great food, and I even got a scarf and a leather bag, when I was there, and I still have it to this day. So no, the Italians were very good. Or treated us very well. Um, Spanish, you would say mucho amor, um, but in Italian, how would you say it? Tanto amore. I think, yeah. At least that's how we would pronounce it in Spanish, but tanto means much. Yeah, it's very similar. Um, no, I just kind of sing Debbie in my mind, saying, I don't know, because there are some Italians that I've met that they're like, we're not Spanish, we're Italian. And I just, oh, all right, all right. Oh, at least we both know how to make good food together, right? Yeah. I had a friend one time, and we were talking about Rome because I haven't always been the biggest fan of the Romans, just because in the past, uh, I kind of connect a lot with the Gaels, and I feel like I had a past life in Ireland, and there were a lot of battles between our tribes and the Romans in the past, but I think I told her, yeah, maybe I've been learning to heal with the Romans, and the good news is the Italians have good food, and she's actually part Italian, and she's like, or well, she says she's Italian, but anyway, she's like, food, what a way to love a culture, and maybe that's some of the tourists coming out of me because as tourists, or at least, for example, for me, I love food, and the Italians have great food, so I don't mind that. And nowadays, you don't see Roman troops, trying to cause harm in the streets of Rome or Italy for that matter. So it's changed for the better. And honestly, there are a lot of indigenous roots for the Italians. And I think maybe for example, southern Italy, or other parts of Italy for that matter, you not only had the presence of the Romans, or some would say Etruscans, however you want to say it, but they also had people who came from Greece, and then Celtic tribes in the north as well. So, or yeah. Uh, so I just want to do this real quick because, I know some of the Italians are like, what part of Italy? Wah, wah, wah. You know how it is with them, or at least I sort of know. It's they sometimes can be a rowdy bunch, but it's okay. It's good to have good energy. So Turin is in or Turin, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. That's in northwest Italy, so that's very close to France, actually. So that's interesting to see. And then Mausoleo Augusto, Rome. So that'd be in Rome, I believe. Montereo Tondo. Yeah. Um, it's always funny how Spanish, Japanese, and even the Italian language, how they all kind of sound kind of similar in a way. Um, it's an interesting to think about the migrations and, probably a shared ancestry of some kind. A shared healing ancestry, ultimately. Um, Let me see here. How far is this? Okay, so this would be a 6-hour drive. Very close to Rome. Okay. So, and then, okay, so yeah, no, and then there's Delphi, Greece, and I love Greek food. I think they don't call it gyro though. They call it hero. Don't call it gyro, hero. So it's kind of funny to think about that. Well, I do say Southern Italians are connected to Greeks as well. Um, Greeks. High similarity between Southern Italy and the Bolognese. Bolognese. I think that's how you say it. Where is Peloponese? This is, oh, beautiful region actually. Wow. This is in the Aegean Sea. This is close to where the Plagacians actually resided. When I think about Plagacians, I think Palladian because it's so close. Like, now I know a lot of people say Palladians were primarily in Northern Europe and those kind of places. But I really feel like they probably migrated from or had a connection to the Aegean Sea, or even from Anatolia. Yeah. And when I think about the word in the Norse kind of uh, folklore, if you will, when they talk about the Vanir and the Azir, I think that Vanir, when I hear the word Vanir or Vanir or however you want to pronounce it, I'm sure Bjorn, he has his own way of saying it. I think he says Vunir, or well, anyways, however you want to cut the onion. Um, to me, Vanir also sounds very similar to venid in Spanish. Vamos a venir. Here we come, or this is where we arrive. So vanid, vanir, it's like tomato, tomato. It's like it's connected. So I'm pretty sure that the Vunir or the Vanir really are, they were essentially called the indigenous people of Scandinavia before the Aesir came. They say the Aesir came from the steppe or from to the east, and then of course there were the Sami as well, who had lived there for a long time as well. But yeah, no, that's a connection that I'd like to make because I think a lot of times people sometimes they um, I don't know, like they sometimes have I just call it a stick up their butt, or they just kind of act with an attitude when it comes with Southern Europeans at times. And we just have to remind them that the reality is there was a migration from places like Greece or places like probably, I imagine, Italy, places like Spain, um, where they migrated to Ireland, well, at least the Spanish with the Irish. There's a connection there. And then probably with the Vunier and the Vanir, I imagine they probably migrated from Greece and headed north. Um, and I think it's because I think that, for example, when you look at Norse haplogroups or what they call Norse haplogroups, I think they have haplogroup I1 and I2. And people always kind of found it interesting how haplogroup I2, or was it? Yeah, I think it was I2. Because I have like half of it, part of it is I1 and part of it's I2. But I think I2 was in Sardinia, Bosnia, Sardinia. I think isn't it an island? Yeah, an island off the coast of Italy. And Bosnia is a little bit north of Greece. So, like to me, I feel like that when people say how can these two have a shared haplogroup, I just say, well, they probably had migrated to the north, or or some could have migrated south as well. But yeah, no, there is a connection there between what some might say the land of the snows and then the land of the I would just call it a beautiful coast, you know? That's how I look at it. But yeah, there you go. That's kind of a connection I wanted to share there. So and then with the Spanish, Iberians, and Portuguese, here you can see it says they are related to the Irish Gaelic people, and this probably comes with the migration of the Milesians, the sons of Mil Ispan, who went to Ireland long ago, and also had met the Tuatha De Danann, which I feel like I'm connected to with through my spiritual mother Morrigan. But yeah, no, I just wanted to make these connections because I think it's important for people who don't know. And then Scotland, or not, well, they call it Great Britain. I just think, the Scottish are like, we're not British, we're Scottish. But anyways, and then the Welsh are like, we're not English, we're Welsh. You know? But anyways, and even some of the English are like, we're also indigenous too, or like, for example, the Cornish, But anyways, uh, no, it's just kind of funny to share. And in a in a healing way, of course. So they say the British come from the Bretons, the Celtic people. Yeah, so this is saying essentially a great wave of northern Germans swept over the eastern shore and slowly conquered the rest of England. Yeah, because a lot of people don't know that, well, some people may, but before the invasion of people from northern Germany and even maybe parts of Scandinavia, though I feel like the Scandinavians, we are related to them because I feel like that a lot of well, when I mean related, I'm talking more so about maybe the Vanir. They could have been connected to a Dadan or maybe to the other Celtic tribes or Gaelic tribes and or essentially the people who had lived in Ireland and uh, those areas before the Milesians, or the modern day Gaelic and Irish people that they had probably had migrated from well, they also say the Tuatha De Danann also could have come out of Egypt as well because Tuatha also means those crossing. So they could have came went from Egypt and then went from to Spain and then went up north, and maybe some of them also went further east into Scandinavia, you know. But I don't know, there could be a connection, you know, kind of a like a thread of connection. And I'm just trying to encompass the whole migrational path, because I think there are a lot of people who think, ah, the Scandinavians, they just stayed there, the Germans, they just stayed there, but you know, we're finding out, or I've shared with people that you know, people didn't just say, you know, here's the border between the U.S. and Mexico as an example, and no one moved up and down. No, it was very different back then. Um, so yeah, no, I felt like it was important to share that. Also South Slavic people. So here you have the Balkans, and for me, I had a lot of connection with the Aurelians, and I feel like the Aurelians, um, some of them also had a close connection with the Irish clans, like or Scottish Highland clans, like Clan Donahane, and I'll even pull it up because I think this might be interesting for you guys to know about. Because I know there are some Irish, you know, folks or other people uh, who say, "Oh, those people with Iberian blood or whatever nonsense they want to say." You know, it really is kind of a circuit that they try to uh, run around in. I guess I don't know. So yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna pull up I think a lot of the samples I had gotten, for example, from places like Hungary. Um, let's see if I can pull this up. So you notice how they're mostly connected to the Aurelians as well as the Belgi, the Pannonians, which I was connected to, Scordisci, which I was connected to, Cherusci, which I'm also connected to. Those were the ones who had rebelled against Rome 2,000 years ago under Hermann Siegfried or Arminius. Um, so notice how there's a very close connection and these were some of the clans I'm also connected to as well. Clan Donahane, Clan Wire, House of De Leopold, Crawford, Hunter, Cheyenne, or yeah, or Shaney. I think when I say Cheyenne, I think about some of the native tribes as well. Then Clan Armstrong, also the Mold, um, and see how they're very closely connected to the Aurelians, who are also in some ways connected to the Spanish, because, for example, a lot of people I've seen who have done this ancestry, like a lot of Spanish people who have a strong connection to Spain, they have a lot of them have the Aurelian ancestry, and so you know this is really kind of that connection to show that yes, the Aurelians are, or it's just kind of like how I watched this professor named Pat Flannery, and he was doing a connection video saying how the Milesians had you know they sailed from Spain to Ireland and became the indigenous Gaelic or Celtic people we know of today. But they had also had originally gone, they really came from, he said not so much Rome, but really Greece, or in the sense that what he's saying is that they had come from tribes that had come from Greece or to the north of Greece, really. Um, but it's all kind of connected in that way. That there is that connection, you know, back to the Balkans, um, or to other southern parts of Europe. What else was there? Uh, so I'm just gonna do this real quick before, sorry about that. Yeah, I think there was another one that I'm just gonna spend just a couple more minutes on this because I don't want it to take up the whole video. Um, so pre-Scythian, elite Scottish, Aurelian. There was like another one that had showed. Um, oh, here, perfect. Proto-Aurelian Bronze Age Croatia. So Proto-Aurelian, I think. I'm gonna look this up real quick. I think Proto-Aurelians would have been the kind of the indigenous Aurelians, or when I think about proto, I think like prototype, like the first. Uh, Let me look here. Yeah, to me, it kind of means like the beginnings of the culture, or for example, like Proto-Germanic. Uh, yeah, so no, yeah, these would have been like kind of like the original Aurelians, or kind of like the beginnings of them, is what I think. It's yeah, yeah, because you can see here closest ancient, yeah, makes sense. The Aurelians, yeah, these would have been the kind of beginnings. So Clan Doniol, Clan Donahane. You can see kind of all the Clan Donahane, by the way, is one of the Scottish Highlander tribes that are connected to the really pretty much to the people of Donegal, to Tyrconnell. Um, Donegal is in northwestern Ireland, and some people call Donegal the Forgotten County, but it really isn't the Forgotten County anymore. At least I don't think so, because well, I'm still here, so so it's not quite the Forgotten County, or the forgotten person as we cross the Nile. Or when I think about Nile, I also think about Nile, the nine hostages. Some people will say Nile, but I think it really is also Nile. Yeah, and I could see Pat kind of smiling. He's like, "Yeah, you got it." Yeah, no, I really enjoyed his video series. It was kind of very good, to say the least. Um, yeah, I'll do a couple more before we do this, before we continue. Yeah, I wanted to share that because I think it helps educate people that we really are kind of all connected, and it's not just one little region. It's like, oh, I never left this island, my ancestors, they never came from anywhere else. All right, you folk, tell that to the people coming from I don't want to pick on the northern Germans, or at whatever part, or because I'm also part Germanic as well, but it's just you know it's uh no, I'm thinking about John O'Sullivan. He probably would say, "Tell him to fuck off." He's a YouTuber I watched from the Irish pagan school. Yeah. I mean, really, we are really, people who have migrated, for thousands of years, and even I'll get to the Native Americans later, but yeah, okay, I just wanted to do that real quick. That kind of wrap that up. Okay, so the next one I want to do is okay, yeah, so speaking about Germany, I am also part German, or well, when it says German, you see, with me, I feel more connected to people from Scandinavia, or at least some of them. Like, for example, I connect a lot with a a YouTuber called Bjorn Andres Bohansen. And my friend Ben was like, "Yeah, that's a Danish name." Or I told him he was Norwegian, but he was like, "Yeah, they just migrated." But anyways, I connect a lot with him, just through his videos. Also, he has a good smile, kind of reminds me of my own. But yeah, no, it's something to where I think it's a beautiful thing, and when I look at him, I kind of see myself, and maybe in the future I will share a photo of myself. And but yeah, no, he really does kind of feel like a brother to me. So that's why, and I have to explain to people when they ask me, why do you feel connected to Bjorn? I would say, well, because they think it just, oh, you're just being racist, or this is what goes on his video. He's like, I'm not just a white person, I'm Norse. He's actually descended from Egil Skallagrimsson, who was a Swedish Viking from 1,000 years ago. Tells you how far his roots go. I mean, of course, even though the Aesir weren't the first to settle there, I still consider him indigenous in the sense that he's been there long enough to respect the land, and he doesn't try to place himself above other people. At least I don't think so. And if he ever has, I'm sure he works on it and apologizes. But yeah, no, he really is a brother, or feels like a brother to me. He because like for example, there are some Scandinavian people I don't connect with as much. Like for example, like I connect with Bjorn a lot, but there are others like maybe this guy. I don't connect with him as much, in the sense that some people might say Scandinavian people look a certain way, or they have to look a certain way, or whatever nonsense they want to spew. To me, it's because that's what I think. It's nonsense. But yeah, no, I just connect more with him. It's that's just or I feel like he'd say that's just how it works. I don't know. I mean, we're all connected. I'm just saying when it's really just people who have who are stuck up folks and just say, yeah, I'm Scandinavian, you're not. I can see Bjorn bringing out the Danish axe or yeah, care to say that again. You know. Um, but yeah, no, it's I'm gonna see. I think there were some Aurelian kind of roots that were connected to the people who had settled in Sweden long ago. This could have also been the Vanir as well. Um, Let me see here. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of confusion people have when they have thoughts about Norse or Scandinavian people. Let me see. There was one group that I saw that had said something about, maybe was it Bohemia? We'll find it here. I just want to pull this up real quick. Parts of Germany. There was a part though that was connected to. I'll find it. I'll find it. Give me a moment. It was specifically with Aurelians as well. Oh, well, there's Bronze Age Scotland, for the Scordisci, which makes sense, yeah. Um, where was it? We'll find it. Uh, Sorry for that. Now, yeah, that was interesting too that I found this because I had a small percentage of ancestry connected to O2A, which are connected to the Kolfin people, or the um, essentially the people who came to Japan later on through the invasions. Well, there was the Jomon, which I feel I'm strongly connected to with the Native American ancestry I have. Then there were the Yayoi who came from Northeast Asia, brought rice, and then there were the Kolfin people. Um, and it says here that they were connected to Xiongnu, Mongolia, partially to the Han people, Indo-Korean, Northern Vietnam, Mongolia. Yeah, and so this was Gallo-Roman and Roman. Okay. You know what was interesting? I watched a video one time of the Northern Italian as well. I watched a video one time of I think there was a film that Jackie Chan was in it, and there I saw the kind of the ancient Chinese army, or one of them at least. I'm not sure which dynasty it was, but they remind me a lot of the Roman formation. Just kind of like how they fought a little bit. So there might be a connection there. But no, let's get back on track here. Where was the one? There were tribes that were connected to. Well, that's Slovenia. Slovenia. Let's see. Portuguese, Galicia, Pannonian. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll find it again. It's kind of eluding me right now, but I just want to make this clear, Central Roman. I want to make this clear. Where was it? Let me look here. Aurelian. And it was specifically with Aurelians, I think. Proto-Aurelian. Where was Sweden? Slovenia, Germany, Serbia. Hold on, we will find it. We will find it. Ba, ba, ba. Was it that, or was it Hungary? I think I'm. Let me look. Well, there's also this. Here's the Thuringi, which I was also connected to. What was that? Proto-Aurelian, was it here? Celtic, Czech. Maybe it was further down here. That's so weird. Oh, here. Oh no, well this is Lombard. Sweden. Okay, Viking Age. Okay, right here. This is the one I wanted to find. So, well, this is Viking Age, Åland, Sweden. But yeah, no, that was something I wanted to pull up there. That there was a connection to Scandinavia. There's also Viking Celtic mix. Scordisci. Okay. Yeah, well, there were only a few samples, but I guess I wanted to share that just to kind of make that connection there. Oops, my bad. Oh no, see if I can get that back. Sorry about that. No, no, no. Oh, no, it's fine. Okay, so continuing here, there was also Northern European as well. And so I did have some connection with Baltic people. And people to steppe, that brought. Yeah, and when I think about Northern European, I also think like well, Finnish, Baltic, maybe I think I even had like a percentage of Sami ancestry. So I feel like that some of them might also be connected to um, some people might say Palladian connection, but I also think that there was yeah, because I think I had a little bit of Finnish ancestry. It wasn't like it wasn't as much as like with people from Scandinavia, but or well, I know still around that region, but yeah, because I think when I looked at my heritage, it's not the best with ethnicity results, but I know like for example, let me check here. Like for example, I had fairly decent ratings, or not ratings, but kind of connections with some people from like Norway and Sweden and Denmark, I think. Even more so than some people in Germany, though I had connections with people in Germany as well. Your Olsen. I think it was. No, let me go for the Finnish real quick. Um, yeah, so you can see here Heber Garson. Yeah, and then maybe did I have any in the Baltic countries on here? Would it show any of it? One in Poland. No. Um, so yeah, that's just kind of like another reference point. But yeah, no, I feel like these were probably people, some of them also indigenous to the area, or had arrived there a long time ago. Uh, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, no, so yeah, there's probably that connection there as well. Um, yeah. Yeah, it says Finland part of Scandinavia. That depends politically and geographically. Finland is part of the Nordic region, but uh, yeah, to me, I still feel like when I think about Finland, it's, I think like, there is still that connection there. So, because it's really, really close. And so, no, yeah. Yeah, I don't know uh, why there's sometimes a kind of a battle between that. But anyways, So yeah, so then here's the Basque people who are essentially the indigenous people of Iberia, and or well, one of the earlier inhabitants. When did the Basque enter Iberia? Yeah, so around 7,000 years ago, or seven, 7,000 years ago. Yeah, so really, pretty much the OGs of the OGs, as someone might say. Let's see here. Yet the majority of the Basque ancestry is why they're similar to Sardinians, with the greatest farmer ancestry in Europe and do not speak Indo-European languages. I'm also had a connection with Sardinians as well, I believe. Uh, yeah, and some people would even say the Basque people uh, could have also had a. I know I keep making references to Pleiades, uh, but they could have had a connection there. Uh, yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm a kind of a big well, I wouldn't say well maybe enthusiast, but also I enjoy reading about star seeds and things like that. And when I watch, for example, Debbie Solaris's videos, I connect a lot with her and her interviews of other people, and I feel like for me, I connect with Pleiades, Dragon. I don't really say Draconian because for me, I feel like I'm connected more so to the dragon energy, or really like I think a lot of people, some people have negative images of dragons, and I actually watched this video where there was this lady from somewhere, I'm not sure where, but she was channeling the healing energy of a dragon, and the dragon was essentially, telling people, we really have good hearts and we really want to help other people, and some people have tried to, you know, see see us in a negative way and tried to, you know, sometimes take advantage of us and that we want to share our healing energy. And so yeah, no, I wanted to kind of clear that up because I think in the Starseed community, there's sometimes, negative images of certain systems and dragons, or sometimes they it's kind of like they sometimes get banged on a little bit, you know. But no, Debbie, she's done a lot of good videos, kind of um, connecting with people who have connections with the dragons, and she tends to kind of share it in a positive light or a positive way, which is a good thing. But yeah, no, so Pleiadian, Dragon, Antarian, and then Antarians. Um, I know Debbie did a video on it, but I essentially wanted to expand on it in the comments. The Antarians also to me are kind of like could also be like owl-like beings because when I think about them, I think about also the mantis and the owls look similar. Then Andromedans, there's a connection with maybe Polynesia, Lemuria, and also my name is Gem. Online name is Gem. Illuminated, and then there's Lyran, which to me like connects with ancient Egypt and the cats, and then the healing part of Orion, you know, and to me it all encompasses the rainbow. But yeah, I just wanted to share that quick tidbit, just kind of to share, some of the diversity of the rainbow. Okay, so the other group I was connected to was the Roma people. And the Roma, they say that some people call them gypsies, and it is said that they originally came from India and were from the Punjabi or Punjab people, which is pretty interesting. And I've seen some videos of India. I love their food. Their food is good, and some of them have a good sense of humor as well. So, and a lot of knowledge in their own right. Some of it I agree with others I don't. Um, like for example, like the some of the Indians, they have their own reservations of, eating beef, and I just kind of think about the Lakota who they do see the buffalo as their relative or their family, kind of like how the Indians do with the cow. But the Lakota, they understand this, but they are grateful for the buffalo and the sustenance it provides, and they use every part of the buffalo. And so there's a deep respect for that. And so it's I don't know, I think it's important to kind of see, what ultimately connects deep within your heart, and to see all the different ways you can go about it in a healing way. And yeah, because there was a time I used to be vegetarian, but I had a friend that actually, she was part native and part Scottish, and she was actually from the Pacific Northwest in Canada. And she actually kind of helped me understand, all life is sacred, whether it's the plants or the animals. And so it really helped me go back to a balance of eating both plants, animal meat, and but do it, of course, in a respectful and healing way. And I think that's what some Vegas or when I think about Vega, I think about vegan or vegetarian, but I feel like, having that balance of not, of course, having respect for the animals, but also having respect for the plants, so the earth, so vegetation doesn't starve, I think is another way to have that healing balance too. So yeah, all very interesting things. I do know some of the Indians do eat meat, but yeah, I know some of them, they are a little bit more finicky about that. Anyways, so Eastern European. So with this group, um, I feel like some of them have positive energy, but I know some Eastern Europeans that I've met, or people who have this ancestry, they tend to sometimes have stick up their butt. I met this one guy that he said he was part Swedish, and to me he sort of looked Scandinavian, there was also someone from Ukraine that looked very similar to him, and he told me, does he look like a Sami? Because in Scandinavia there was racial tension in the past between certain groups, and I told him no, Bjorn actually looks more like me. This guy was also shocked as well. This guy was probably 6 foot 4, 5, 6, however, and I'm like 5 foot 11, but I might still grow taller because I did I did grow a couple inches a year ago, and I'm 28 years old, and I'll be 29 coming next May. But Bjorn actually, he's around my height, and I know he I guess struggled with some people in his country for trying to uh, pick on him and things like that. But no, it just kind of shows that, like, I was talking to my dad's wife, Julie, saying that, for example, and we'll get to the Ashkenazi or German Jews later, but I told her some of them I feel like could pass for Eastern European. And so, but again, I don't want to, kind of say negative things about them, because there are some of them that mean well, and it is part of my rainbow. But yeah, no, it's just something that I feel like that they've had to kind of, some of them have had to work on to have that healing balance, and to kind of share these things in a healthy way. So um, yeah, but yeah, but no, I think some of them mean well. It's just, it's important to remind them. It's like, not everyone has to just look a certain way. That's why we have more than one tribe, or we have the rainbow, as it were. Then here's the Ashkenazi Jew. There's a lot of people who say that they think I'm Jewish, and it is true in the sense it is part of my rainbow, but it's not predominantly who I am. Um, in the sense that I actually had a lady one time that I was at a bus stop, and she tried to ask me who I was, and when I didn't say I was Jewish, she got really upset at me, and I don't know. I just think that I know. some of the Jewish people, and I know there's kind of a conflict going on right now in the Middle East, and I send my healing energy to all the people that are affected because I feel like it's important to do at this time. But I try to remind people that, even though I'm not a Christian or things like that, I do see Yeshua or like the Buddha as a leader in his own right. Yeshua is the one of the original names for Jesus. And Yeshua was essentially when he talked to the Pharisees or to the other Jews that were in power, um, because Yeshua was also Jewish himself, is to not try to essentially um, exalt yourself over everyone else. And you know, what he was saying is, you shouldn't just say you're the only one's right and everyone else is wrong. And also, because I think that they really were affected by the Assyrian Empire and the other empires that had conquered them, and he wanted to kind of bring them back to the original message of healing and of kind of respecting all the tribes in the healing way, in the sense of understanding the rainbow that we all are. And so yeah, no, I think it was important to share that. And because, for example, even with the Sephardic Jews, some of them were looked down by the Ashkenazi or German Jews, and so, but that just shows the diversity in general of the tribes, that it's not just one tribe. But it can, but we bring the tribes together by sharing the rainbow. So yeah, I guess I just kind of wanted to share my point on that. Uh, So and then I also had a connection with France. I know, like to me, I know this kind of seems a bit lower than what I would have thought. Some like some other DNA like stuff I've done has like a bit of a higher percentage, like with Brittany, France. I know that's more Celtic, but France was also really part of Gaul. Uh, but yeah, no, I mean, to me, I feel like this is mostly accurate, but I think some of it, may, uh, have just different readings of it. Because like, for example, my mother's, my grandmother's last name from my mother's side is Martel, and Martel is definitely a French word, which means hammer, essentially. So, but here it's saying 1%, and that's why I just kind of take some of these tests with a grain of salt. Like if I feel like if it completely resonates, then I go for it. Like for the Iberian and Spanish, but some of it I just kind of relook into it because I think it's important to. Like it could even be some of this could be kind of blurred with some of the German and other groups. Um, and then there's South Balkan here, which was connected to Greece. And then this was also connected to Legations to the Greeks. Yeah, here we go. And Scandinavian. So here it's showing a kind of a low reading, but I feel like I'm more connected to the Scandinavians than this reading would suggest. At least I connect a lot with Bjorn and some other people who have this ancestry. Um, I'll have to relook into that. But yeah, so again, some of this I kind of question a little bit, which is not a bad thing. But and then here's Alpine, which is 1%. Um, so yeah, I want to move on now to. I spent a lot of time on the European ancestry. So it's not a bad thing though. It's just kind of want to move on to another part of my rainbow. And so I'm going to do that. This was around 73% according to this test. I want to move on now to the Native American report that I got, because this is also equally important. I did this recently. And here, I think they wrote a disclaimer because probably a lot of people, might get mad at them. It's like, I wasn't 100% Cherokee, or I wasn't this or that. But that's okay. Um, anyways, so here I was connected to a lot of different native groups. I was connected to the Patagonian people who are actually connected to the Jomon, the indigenous people of Japan, who are also connected to the samurai and Bushido. Of course, Bushido, some people may see it in a negative way, but when you understand the original kind of virtues of Bushido, it also connects to the Kainawa tribe of uh, of Alberta, which is north of me. I'll see if I can pull it up. Uh, Bushido, the way of the warrior. So you can see here, I'm going to pull this up. We have this built in code in our DNA, and essentially it's their way of kind of seeing what they call right and wrong, or really, seeing the healing path. And it's been valid for 10,000 years. And so you can see here honesty and justice, courtesy, courage, honor, compassion, sincerity, uh, duty, and loyalty. And it's very closely connected to, like, I connect a lot with Jin, compassion. I also connect with Gi, integrity, being honest with myself. Respect is also hugely important for me. Courage also, just even doing this video, it does take courage. Miyo, honor, essentially to, um, to really, um, yeah, to really be honest with yourself and just kind of to honor who you are in a healing way. And also to honor others as well, for healing, for things they also share. And then Mokoto, um, essentially, when you say something, you actually mean it. So that's also important for me. And then Chu, to also, to be honest with your actions and to and to have responsibility, in a healing way. So yeah, no, I wanted to share that really quick because it is deep for me. But I think the ones I connect a lot with, what I connect most with is really being kind to others or compassion, and also being honest, um, and being authentic and having respect. I think those are, and having courage as well. I think that's all very important. And I like integrity because here it says, um, when it comes to believing in justice, don't just take it from the justice of others. Like, for example, uh, if someone says, this is the only way, you say, well, I don't necessarily believe that. And so this is, but from yourself as well. And to really, to not be afraid to question certain things, to be strong about that. I feel that's important. But yeah, no, so this was connected to Patagonia, but also they are connected strongly to the Jomon people. And you can see here, let's see if I can pull up the Mapuche. So here's an image of the Mapuche. And, they're still having a tough time in Chile at the moment. And I hope that they will heal and they will find their way, and it will, that it will, they will have a healing energy there. But here you can see this is the Jomon people, and then here are the people who came earlier later on, who most people say, East Asian, Chinese, however you want to call it, or also from Korea and other places, which would have been also the Kolfin would be connected there. But you see here, this is an image of the Ainu, and I'm gonna see if I can get an image of the Mapuche. So here, let me see. Can I get a? Man, so here's a Mapuche with a beard, and then the Ainu people here, right here. So you can see how you look at this Mapuche man, and you look at this Ainu man. There is a connection there. I know this man doesn't have as long of a beard on this image, but you can kind of see the similarities. Yeah. So I wanted to do that real quick because I don't think many people are often educated about the Native Americans, especially those as far down south as Chile or Patagonia, as an example. Um, so this might be like some of my connections I have with Andromeda or maybe even Antarian as well. So, and then I love this image. The Quechua have such a good energy, you know, just always such a healing energy. So the Quechua, or they would also be known as the descendants of the Incas, but even some of them are also before Inca. For any of those who have read history and know about the Inca Empire and kind of connection to South America, there's a healing there, and or there definitely can be healing. So I want to just share this real quick. When I think about the Incas or the Quechua, I don't just want to say Inca because they don't all consider they don't like we're not just all Incas now because and that's true they're not all Incas, but when I think about the Quechua people or the I'm gonna see if I can pull up the so when I look at some of them they remind me a lot of some say they could be connected to the Jomon, which is true because probably there was a kind of intermixing between some of the Mapuche or Patagonians and the Quechua who lived further north. Look at her smile. But anyways, so I think when you look at Tibetan people, you look at how they just both have like a wholesome energy to them. Um, and let me see if I can pull this up. You see the smiles of the Quechua, and then the smiles of the Tibetan. Yeah, to me, they're both connected. Yeah, that's what I kind of see when I look at them. That's why, some East Asians, when I meet them, like, I actually had a Vietnamese friend who his online name is Otaru, but he lives in Oklahoma, and he said all these Americans look the same, and I told him, well, what about me? And he's like, well, you special. But anyways, yeah, no, he kind of has a, sometimes he'll be like, I feel bad for you living in Idaho. And I'm like, why do you feel bad? He's like, aren't there a bunch of Germans up there? And I tell him, yeah, but I'm part German, and some of them need healing. And I actually met a Welsh Italian American that actually Debbie might find this interesting, but um, he was looking at a photo of his family members, and he tried to say they were relatively dark skinned, and he tried to use the N word, and his father slapped him. And when he asked his dad, why did you slap me? He said, well, they're part of your family. And I remember this same man, he got upset at me at first because I consider myself more so a pagan, or more so someone who walks the rainbow road, or is open to researching, the spiritual beliefs of the world in a healing way. And he came to me, and he said, this is a guy, he said, I'm a Christian. I don't believe in any of this pagan stuff. And then he said, no, I felt like I had a past life in Germany during the Second World War, and that I was a German soldier of the German army, and or Hitler's army, really. And that I don't want to be this hateful man anymore. And I was out on the car with him, and this was a disabled veteran, from the waist down. And I looked at him and I said, "You're no longer that hateful man because you have love in your heart." And he cried and he hugged me, and he said, "I won't tell people what to do anymore." Um, and after that, he did a little healing prayer. Uh, Even though I'm not Christian, I let him do it because, well, it's just kind of like everyone, people are going to have different spiritual beliefs, and everyone's going to have a different way of sending their healing energy. Like, for example, the Quechua, have their own healing way of sharing their energy, and I appreciate that. And with this man, he was also sharing that healing energy as well. And so when someone shares that healing energy, you know that it means well in that way. And actually, when people had visited the Quechua in the Andes Mountains, they understood, uh, you know, they wanted to understand, how to share healing energy and how to let go of the negative energy. And a Hopi elder actually was there too, and he almost cried when he met them, because he felt like he was connected to them. And but no, they brought healing for each other, and so that's definitely a beautiful thing indeed. But no, I wanted to share that because I felt like it was definitely important. Um, yeah, I love the Quechua. Quechua are great. So next group are the Mayans, and I could say someone saying "Woohoo, Mayans!" Yeah, no, I could see because they're very uh, bubbly, and also very passionate, uh, people in their own way. Uh, and I actually watched this YouTuber. She's actually of Lakota, Mayan, Hawaiian, and what was the other ancestry she had? Cherokee. Yeah. So, and she talks a bit about them. But yeah, no. So the Mayans, I actually had this kind of dream or vision one time when I was on the plane with my mom, and it was a vision of essentially meditating on this temple, or some would call it a pyramid, but I would also call it like a temple, like a big temple. Uh, some call them the Mayan period pyramids, but I also would call them Mayan temples. And I was meditating on the top of it, and it was really understanding the seat of authority within. This is why, you know, I felt like us ancient Egyptians, built the temple, the pyramids, because it's really meant to show our inner sovereignty within, the seat of sovereignty. And having that vision was really just reaffirming that connection that us ancient Egyptians also. Well, we're not just ancient because we're still here. We crossed the Nile, but no, that's there's that connection as well. Very very beautiful. Um, and so here's Central American. So now this group, I actually was looking into the Kogi people, and they were actually getting interviewed by. I love their energy. They're such a they have a healing energy about them, and they were getting interviewed by different people in a lot of very quote unquote wealthy people, and they were being interviewed about how to heal the earth and how to encourage sustainability. And they were really talking about, having the connection with the land and, also trying to help these people, find sustainable ways to share our technology in a healing way, or, for example, like, recycling, like a few days ago, I had some broken headphones that didn't work anymore, so I decided to recycle them instead of throwing it in the trash. And that's just an example of healing the earth and uh, reconnecting with that energy in a healing way. And so yeah, and also when I look at the Kogi people as well, sometimes they do remind me of like I think of the film The Last Samurai, or no, not this film. Uh, Seven Samurai, yes. So yeah, it's actually a really good film for anyone who hasn't seen it. But when I think of this man, I think about the Incas or Quechua. But yeah, there is that connection there. Because I think they said that they even had found Jomon pottery in Ecuador, which is south of Colombia. So there's probably that connection there. Um, I actually went to Ecuador, by the way. It's very it's a country with hardships, but it's also a country of great beauty. And I remember going up the Andes Mountains, and it was just such an experience. And I also visited the Galapagos as well, which was great. I still have a picture book of all the photos I took there, and remember swimming with the sea lions and seeing the all the interesting tortoises and seeing they call them red-footed boobies, which is interesting. Also the blue-footed ones as well. Yeah, it was quite the journey. So yeah, so there's that connection there. I also have connection with the what some would say, of course, Native Americans of U.S. and Canada. Uh, I only say this because sometimes when I watch videos of people saying, "Oh, those natives or those people, south of the border, they're not native. They're Mexican or they're not Native American." But that's kind of a load of hogwash because reality is a lot of the natives were going up and down the continent, before Europeans arrived, and even after, well, even after they did or we did essentially, because it's all part of the rainbow. Even in the times of New Spain, there was still that connection between, for example, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado. I think even as far north as Idaho, like the southern part, had this connection with the natives going up and down as late as the 1800s. And so I think it's important to understand that because now here it says I have a percentage with the plains and eastern woodlands. So I actually connect a lot with the Lakota. There's this man, elder I watch. His name is Wowita Ahumuni, and there's a saying in the Lakota language, and it's called Mitakuya Oyasin. It's interesting how when I pronounce that, it sounds very similar to the way a Japanese person would pronounce it. Uh, Ita. I'm gonna try to say it again. Itaku oyasen. Yeah, no, yeah. Mitakuye oyasen. Yeah, I want to make sure I get it right. And so, essentially, what I love about this message is it doesn't matter what color earth robe we are wearing, we all belong to the same race, the human race. Or to me, I call it the rainbow race because, Wowita says, you should walk the red road, you should walk the red road. And I just say, well, Wowita, I like to watch, or his full name is Wowita Aho Muni, which means walks with pride in the Lakota language. And for me, I like to say Rainbow Road because, I'm all these colors. I'm not just red, but I mean, I know he said, we all have red blood, but I say no, we're really, the rainbow. We are, or at least I feel like, I'm part of all these. You can call it ethnicities, you can call it star seeds, you can call it whatever. But to me, I feel like it's all connected through the rainbow. So that's why I like that saying, Mitakuye oyasin. Yeah. And then also with the Cherokee, talked to my uncle, like a week ago, and he and I got into a bit of a argument, which is fine, but I believe he'll heal in time, but it was essentially him kind of saying, I've spent over 40, 50 years with the Cherokee in Northern Carolina or North Carolina, and they don't really like to talk with other tribes and stuff, and I don't know if that's completely true. I mean, I know he says I've spent this much time with them. I only say that because Hiawatha, she is part Cherokee, and she was very open when I spoke with her. Some people might say, well, she's not a certain quantum of Cherokee or whatever. To me, I don't really look at it that way. If it's part of your rainbow, it's part of your rainbow, especially if you connect with it. And she definitely does in her own way. Um, so yeah, no, I think it's just something that it's important to understand, like what the Lakota say, Mitakuye Oyasin, or really also understand the healing message for all of us there. And yeah, no, I think in time, they will more of them will find their way. Um, but yeah, no, I think it's a journey. It's a journey. I remember how Apacia had a video of like the Cherokee where there was like the deer spirit or and it was something that I find beautiful indeed. So I'll have to see if I can learn a bit more about them. I've just kind of heard what he said and also have done a few videos kind of researching about them. But yeah, it just it takes time to understand it better. Yeah, I don't like that one. Yeah, I like this one as well. Listen with an open mind. Yeah, which is kind of contrary to what he was saying. So, but again, maybe, sometimes people they struggle, over time, and sometimes they might forget the original roots, some of them. But they do say the Cherokee, especially the Eastern Band, are going back to some of their original roots and trying to re-understand who they are as people, which I think is a beautiful thing. Um, yeah, and yeah, it's all kind of interconnected. By the way, with A lot of the West Coast tribes, or the tribes in the West, like for example, the Tlingits, and there's also the in where I live in North Idaho, there's the Coeur d'Alene Indians or the Shushimish. I'm still trying my best to pronounce it correctly. I can see them laughing at me. I almost want to say sushimi, but no, susimish, sushimish. Yeah, sushimish is sushimi. Yeah. Um, well, they do like they do feel connected to the water in the canoe, but it's something where you know there is that connection, with parts of Latin America with some of the native people. Let's see here. So the next one was the Amazons, which yeah, I actually watched a video of um basically his name is Xiao Mein, but he also says I'm a white Jewish guy who speaks Chinese, and he actually did a video where he was in the Amazon and yeah, this was a good video. I remember one time in the video when the other Amazonians they were trying to hunt. I don't know if it was a monkey or what it was, but he's like, what? I think he told his cameraman, what the heck are we doing here? And then he's like, I don't know. You know, but it was great. I thought it was great, and I think he ate these lemon ants. Said tasted like Sour Patch Kids, and oh, I'm just laughing because it was so like surreal, but it was great. And then yeah, and then he had his friend that was trying to eat like boar, and it was the catch that the Amazonians got, and I think this was Ecuador, and then he told him, don't eat all that mutton now, save it for some of the Amazonian people. I think they were called the Waorani tribe. Yeah, the Waorani. I want to say Waorani, like Woani, like the how you would say it in Japanese or even in Spanish. It'd be very similar. Waorani. Yeah. But anyways, it's just that connection there. Um, oh yeah, did I do this one? Oh yeah, so Mesoamerica. So with this one, I know it said I also was connected to Mayan, but when I think about Mesoamerica, I think about the Zapotecs, and there's also the Mixtecs as well. But the Zapotecs also had built their own kind of temples as well, and they're also called the people of the cloud as well. And then you see these two almost like dragon heads. Some might call it snake heads, but I think it's more connected to really understanding the healing energy of the dragon as well. Um, yeah, I feel like yeah, yes, you are right. Like that's the message I'm getting. Um, yeah, because when I think about I think in Peru there's actually this this image of the two dragons kind of sharing the rainbow here, which I think is such a beautiful image. It's showing the healing energy of the dragons that I think is important for people to understand. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to share that. Zapotec also, they're also the people of the cloud, and then Miztec is the people of the rain. Um, yeah, so it really is a yeah, no, they're very beautiful people because, for example, you can see the Zapotec person, she's kind of grinding the corn, the the maíz, as you would say in Spanish, or some people call it maize, but maíz. And to me, I feel like they are people who do consider you family once they get to like you. Yeah. So, um, I also got Arctic islands, and so I remember there were some results of native results where I was connected to um, the Inuit and Greenlander, I think. But yeah, no, this was interesting as well. It's like I tell like my dad's wife and other people I talk to, if we want to heal this land, you know, in the land of Turtle Island or Anishinaabe, which is, you know, North America, and not just US and Canada, but also Mexico, uh, you know, and even parts of Central America, because that's also part of the turtle. You know, if you look at a map of North America, or even just, I'm just going to pull up the American map, America's map, just to show it to you guys. So, so when you look at like this image of like from Alaska to, or even parts of Greenland, or not Greenland, but kind of some of the islands, you know, to the north, like northern Canada, north central, yeah. So when you look at that, you can kind of see the fins of the turtle, the head of the turtle, and then you see the tail of the turtle, you know, going all the way, you know, to the gateway of South America. Now, once you get to South America, I call it, they say Abya Yala. To me, it's kind of like the shield of the turtle, or really the healing, protective shield. And you know, well, you also have the Amazon rainforest there that also it's important to bring healing to it as well. But yeah, no, and then there, of course, the Andes Mountains, and so you know, like I tell people, from the tip of Alaska to the bottom of Chile, you know, it's important to bring that healing. And so, yeah, no, I think it's important to share that healing energy because it really, I think, is meant to bring us all together ultimately. Um, and I did a video where I went through my American or Native American samples, and I was yeah, it says Iroquois tribe. Yeah, there might have been even like a migration of people as early as 500 years ago. But we're going up and down. Um, Here it says Piedmont Mixtec. This is probably where I get some of the Mesoamerican or Zapotec readings. Um, yeah, and then here Eskimo Inuit. Um, and also like the Mayans, at least the haplogroup for the Inuit people. I'd have to learn more about the Greenlanders, but they had a connection with the there might have been a migration from north to south, you know, for the Mayan people. And I think that is I'll have to check that again. Yeah, it says yet genetically the Maya descend from the same Siberians that contribute the vast majority of the ancestry for many indigenous people, um, from the Arctic to the Antarctic, from Yukon to Patagonia. Yeah, so there's that connection there. Though I will say that a lot of people think the natives, just came to the Americas from Asia through the ice bridge, but I don't really believe that's entirely true because, for example, especially when I think about the Patagonians or even Tlingit people, the Pacific Northwest, I feel like they came from by boat, to and eventually inhabited different parts of America, through the Pacific Ocean and even parts of Polynesia. So I feel like it's important to share that because I think some people they are not fully aware of that. So here's the Serrano people. This would be kind of parts of Mexico and okay, parts of Mexico and the U.S. Uh, and it talks about the Southwest is the southernmost extent of the Diné people, roots in southern Siberia, more recent origins of other indigenous people. Navajo attests to their greater Asian connections through the migration. Uh, the Old West, yeah. Yeah, I had some connections, I think, with the Navajo, and then some more distant connections with Chaco Canyon. And, well, this would be haplogroup B2. Here it says ancient Peru, Pima, Amerindian Baja. Uh, when I think about Kukulpa, I don't know what I think about cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So it's, yeah. And the Kukulpa people, they live in Baja California. But yeah, no, I think it was important to share that. Yeah, and I had a lot of readings where I was getting connected with Eskimos, Inuit. They prefer to be called Inuit because Eskimo is kind of a derogatory word meaning, I think even raw fish eater, which it's not really a kind word. So it's important to share healing, in a healing way. So yeah, and then I think when I looked at like, because I think I did this in a previous video, like sometimes you can pull up similar samples, um, or even like haplogroups, and it will tell you like who they are connected to. Um, yeah, Chaco Canyon, Pima. But there's also here it says ancient Malaysia, you know, late and also late period ancient Egypt, which I thought was interesting. And these were connected to the Serrano people. Also, yeah, this is 1700 AD though, but yeah, it's kind of interesting there. Um, then I also was connected to Tlingit Athabascan. That was probably a connection also with the Patagonian ancestry, or really goes back to also the Jomon people. But it's all kind of connected that way. It's like the Mapuche say that, meeting people, there's a reason why it happens. why these why we have these experiences, for example. Um, I think there was like one group that was connected to, well, here it was Eastern Russia, or really pretty much Siberia. I know I did a separate video on this, but here's Washington State. It's pretty much borders where I live, Idaho. And here it was connected to the Incas of Peru, which makes sense. Okay, so here it has connections in Sweden, interestingly enough. It's probably also a connection maybe with the Sami people as well. Yeah, because they do say the Sami and the natives might have a shared ancestry, which makes sense. Or at least, they might have that connection. Yeah. Oh, well, here we go. I remember I had a video, not a video, but I was connected to, other than the Jomon people, I was also connected to the Peruvian hunter-gatherer, 0.3% as opposed to 0.5 for the Jomon. Um, but the haplogroup A2AO is the same for the Peruvian hunter-gatherer as it is for this one, Pacific Northwest, which makes sense because I've always kind of felt a always like connection to Idaho or really Pacific Northwest, and I always wanted to move up here. Um, and now I think I know why there's there's that kind of like that connection and part of that healing. And so here you can see Athabascan, which would be connected to the Dene people, I believe. Yeah, it's Dene. Uh, so there's that connection. But the Peruvian hunter-gatherer, that was a connection from up to 9,000 years ago. So it shows that the Athabascan, some of them had come here even earlier. Or there could have been that sailing from the ocean and they had carried a similar ancestry. Um, is what I kind of think. Yeah, and you'll usually see this along the coastline as well, especially the west coast. So, but yeah, before I end this video, guys, I just want to share the remaining parts of the ancestry I felt connected to. Um, because like I did my European and Native American ancestry, which is around 89, almost 90% of my ancestry. But the remaining 10% goes to, because I also connect a lot with Egypt, and I told you earlier that the Tuatha um, may have come from Egypt as well, ancient Egypt, long ago. There's a connection that I have with people from North Africa, such as the Berber or Amazigh people. So they don't like to be called Berber because it's kind of a negative term, meaning barbarian, that they were kind of culled, unfortunately. But the Amazigh people, they also, a lot of them have a connection or have a ancient connection with the ancient Egyptians. And so you can see in the photos that they've gone through a lot of struggles. And so this is probably why when you see them, it's almost like they kind of have like when they do smile, it's almost like it's a bit forced because they've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, in their lands for a very long time now. And so you hope in time they will find that healing and that connection of just being able to, yeah, you can see it here, because they were invaded by people from Arabia, and so it's been tough on them, but I believe they will hang in there. And yeah, and they also put an emphasis on women as well as having seeing them as leaders. And I think there were several famous female leaders who actually did defend the Berber well, Amazigh lands. I could see them smiling. Yeah, Amazigh. Yeah. Uh, you know, when during the Arab expansion, and when I think about them, I also think about like my mother Morrigan when she says, you bow down to no one, and she was also a queen or a female leader in her own right as well. Actually, I never thought about this, but because like when I think about my spiritual mother Morrigan, I sometimes feel that connection with North Africa. When I look at some of the women here, yeah, no, she's saying it's okay to share this, yeah, because I want to do it with respect, but yeah, no, I think it's a good thing to share. I feel like there is that connection with the Amazigh people, which makes sense because we came out of, well, they say the two of the Danann came out of Egypt, uh, or or there is that connection and that. Uh, trying to break this down. Yeah, I'm trying to bring it down to earth to make sense of it, but essentially, there was that crossing from Egypt, and the Morrigan was part of the two of the Danann. So, so it makes sense that there is that connection. And again, I see her as my spiritual mother, or some say that she was the warrior queen or one of the prominent mothers of Ireland. But yeah, no, it's pretty much the message of sovereignty and really staying strong in oneself. And that's just how it is. It's not a bad message. It's really being strong in who you are and understanding that. Yeah. And then so this would be Berber, Tunisia, or no, Amazigh, Tunisia, Chen. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. And so you can really see how they really have they do carry themselves well. Um, and yeah, trying to see if I can find an image here. Yeah, I like this one. Oh, this one was healing. But yeah, no, I think that's where probably some of the connection, uh, for example, with maybe some of the two of the Danann, also came from. Um, yeah, or at least with the connection to the Morrigan in this case. Yes. Uh, what else? Genoplot. So yeah, so that was it says here 3.5%. And see, it says here some of the Ashkenazi came from Eastern Europe, like Russia, Ukraine. And I really do hope that they heal with themselves, because I know it's been a long war over there. Hopefully that heals in time for them. And I think even though some of the Ukrainians I think and maybe even some of the Russians as well they struggle with racial things like I watched this video of this Ukrainian lady and you know in this case she had blonde hair and blue eyes but it doesn't really matter what her hair color or eye color is because for example I believed in a past life I had blonde hair and blue eyes, and I don't want people to think, oh, because this person has a certain hair color and eye color, they're this way. That's not true. But anyways, again, she could have looked anyway. But she had this. She started picking on Egyptian Muslims and saying, she was saying all these nasty things of, no wonder the Israelis rule over you, and one of the staff people had to say, hey, you can't do this, and so they brought. She tried to call the police, and the police came in, and then she said, and she was also the same person saying, get out of my country, get out of my country, and she had recently migrated, from Ukraine, but she, the police said, where are you from? And she said American, and she said, no, where are you really from? And she said Ukraine. And so she got handcuffed, and she says, please don't do this to me. I have Muslim friends. And that was just such a sad thing to see. And so that's why, when I see these things, and again, I don't want to say, all, negative things per se of Ukraine and Russia, because there are good Russians and good Ukrainians. Um, but I think that it is important to be aware that and this was probably one of the problems that some of the Ashkenazi struggled with is that they some of them wanted to see themselves as we are the chosen people, but some of them went about it in a negative way, or some of it became distorted. And yeah, but I think it will heal. It will heal. It just and maybe that's why there's that conflict over there right now, just like there's a conflict in the Middle East, and I think the Zelensky and the Ukrainians, I feel like deep down some of them do have good hearts. I can say this because when I saw some of them, fighting against the Russians, and some of the Russians were very brutal. They would take some of the Russians to the hospitals and try to heal them. And so I think deep down they 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 they're getting better. They're getting better. This is how I see it. They're not perfect. None of us are perfect. But here's Mr. Gray Putin. That and this is some of the healing they need in that land. But they will get there. They will get there. The rainbow will come. When I look at the vision over there, I think about you have these clouds that are covering that land, and you have the ray of the rainbow, shining and parting the clouds, and that's how we all heal, you see. Um, so anyways, what was the other one? Um, oh yeah, so remember I told you about the connection with the Quechua, maybe that's and the Tibetans, so that's probably why I have some of that connection there, which it's pretty cool actually. Um, Oh, you know what's interesting? I don't know why this time around, uh, it didn't show, uh, my Native American ancestry, but it is showing like Vietnam and Tharu and ooh, Japanese as well. There we go. So, um, Scandinavians. Oh, here's Sephardic Jew. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Yeah. No, I think it might have either messed up this time around, or maybe the readings are so close that it picked up on different groups, which makes sense. Yeah. So you have Indonesia, Java, and who are the Tharu people? I guess I indirectly walked into some of the also other East Asian or Southeast Asian connections I have. Um, Tharu people, where are they from? Southern Nepal. Yes, so pretty much close to Tibet. Um, Tharu people, Tibeto-Burman speakers who entered Northeast Asia. Yeah, or not Northeast India. Yeah, so there's that connection there, which makes sense because I also watched a video recently where um, there was a native person from South America, and she connected with someone from Indonesia and she said, it feels like we're speaking the same language, um, and so there's probably some of that migration, from that area to yeah to beautiful country actually, yeah, to the new world, or quote unquote new world. And also there's also a bit of Chinese on Chinese. Uh, oh, I still remember my Vietnamese friend was like, "How can you be part Vietnamese?" Yeah, but yeah, here's a connection here. This is probably just tracing some of the connections back, from the Native Americans to parts of Asia and East Asia and Southeast Asia. So, and oh, so haplogroup B, B4. Okay. So this might be the connection, to the native people as well. You know what? I felt like in a past life I was actually a rice farmer, and it was a simple life, but it was just me, just farming rice, And I remember carrying the two buckets, and I think even the Ainu people, they have a name for it in Hokkaido, but yeah, I remember that. That was so maybe there's that link there, as it were. It's all, yeah, again, like my ancestry is really like the rainbow, so that's the best way I can say it. Yeah, and everyone is in a way. It's just sometimes people, they look at me and they're like, what are you? I'm like, I'm the rainbow. Yo, fuck. And yeah, and here's Zapotec. So yeah. Come over here. I think there's this uh, kind of little video I saw that talked about, or no, it was an excerpt about this Irishman. He was kind of a relatively lean Irishman, and he was dating a Mexican woman that I think became his wife, and she was a pretty robust woman, to say the least. And I think she would sometimes he would get drunk, and she just kind of pull him, by the arm, and I remember that. Yeah, that's funny. So, um, yeah, it really is an interesting history when you look at all the connections of the rainbow you see. A lot of this, I think, is Antarian, but also part of it is also Andromeda. Uh, um, yeah, they might. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes they probably have gone through some struggles that need healing as well, but I feel like they'll get there. They'll get there. I believe in them. Um, Malay people. Um, Seems like Islam tends to be a big thing over there. At least at the moment. Yeah, but I believe they'll find their healing way. Let's see. And then if you look at the temples, you can see. Yeah, I feel like this is probably where maybe some of the temple builders, had come from as well. Maybe a connection to Southeast Asia. Because I know with the Kolfin people, they may have also have come from the Southeast. They had built temples and pyramids as well. So there's probably that connection there. Okay, but I wanted to, and then of course part Mongolian, Japanese, Norwegian. There's Bjorn. Oh yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Of course, there's probably more of a connection here as well. I'm just trying to think here. This video's been going on for a long time. Where was I? So, oh wait, let me run this again because, see, again, this is not foolproof perfect. I mean, it gets most of the estimates right, but sometimes, like it does like jumble around a little bit. Um, yeah, I don't know why it's doing this right now. Um, see how it's not exactly foolproof, which is okay. Yeah, I just wanted to, let me see. Okay, so I think this was, yeah, here we go. This is more, well, it's not 100% accurate, but, okay, so let's go to the Middle East here. So, um, as I told you before, I feel like I have a connection with Egypt, and so here's also, aside from the Amazigh people, there's also a connection to Egypt, which is at around 3.5%, and a small percentage of the Saudi people from Arabia. And again, I feel like when I think about the Palestinians and the Jews or really the extreme people, like some of the extreme Zionists and some of the extreme Hamas people, I think that it's really, um, a rainbow. that they need to heal from. And I actually watched this YouTube channel called GFL Station, and they had this image of the infinity symbol. On one end was Israel, and on the other end was, I think, the Palestinian flag. And there was a light coming from the middle of both. And so I think this is why we remind them, the same thing with the Russians and the Ukrainians, that there can be more than one tribe, and it's important to understand the rainbow. And I think they'll get there. I think they'll get there. So, and unfortunately, the Egyptians have already offered some humanitarian aid for the people from Gaza, which I think is a good thing, for the civilians that need healing. Okay, so that is part of that. And then I had a small connection with people from Somali, Sudan, Nigeria, and Gambian. So there we go. Um, yeah, and I think with like the Somali people, I think I watched a video of them, and some of them, um, like I think about Orion connection as well. But I feel like that, I think there was a video I watched of them where they were, I watched this YouTuber called, uh, what's his name? Not Sentinello. What's this guy's name? Oh yeah, visiting Somalia. And he had I think like good things to say, or it was relatively positive. I'll have to look at it again, but it wasn't anything negative per se. I'll have to look at the video again. But yeah, definitely I feel there could be an Orion connection too. Um, yeah, and it seems like they've gone through a lot of hardships, and life is probably difficult for a lot of them, but that's why we do what we can to share the rainbow and to help them heal and to remind them that personal sovereignty comes from within, and to help them that way. See, I could hear one of them saying thank you. Yeah, so it's part of the journey, um, and so that's why we share it with love instead of hate, and so we help them find their way, the healing way. And I think, oh yeah, and then also Sudan. I actually like this video of the Sudanese. So the Sudanese, they say that they're one of the darkest people on the earth. Just now, some people don't consider them black people for whatever reason. Um, but for me, I always get like a good energy from them, like relatively good energy. Like I think what's his name? Wait, what's his name's not Peter. It's what's his name? I had him before. Visiting Sudan. Oh yeah, tallest people. Yeah, this was it. It was really interesting video. Tallest humans. Oh, his name's Drubinski. Yeah, so Drubinski is part Jewish, uh, maybe part German Jew. Um, but yeah, no, he did a video of them, and they had a really good energy. They tend to be very tall. Um, but yeah, no, they were so happy with like him kind of going to Sudan and sharing a positive energy of them. So yeah, yeah, no, I think it's all connected. It can be done in a healing way. So yeah, and he's in Nigeria. Yeah, no, I think I saw Peter do a video of people from Nigeria, and it was relatively positive, yeah. And oh yeah, there's this guy named Wuda Maya. I call him Boogie Maya because he's always jumping around. In my opinion, like he's always like, hey, like you know. But no, he has a good energy about him. Sometimes he does get a little bit serious, of course, in a way that may need some healing. But I think he really means well in his own way, and he tries to share positive things about Africa, especially uh, you know parts of sub-Sahara Africa and even other parts like Sudan, South Sudan, and other areas. And I think he's doing what he can. For some might say his people, but it's really more than just his people because it's really the whole, or ultimately, hopefully, it'll be the whole continent of Africa. And I like his energy. He's very very positive, very bubbly, very enthusiastic. Uh, that's what I like about him. And he's always sharing success stories of the Africans and their journey, and or most notably, when I mean Africans, some might say black people, others might say black Africans, but really those who have really struggled in the past and that really would like to have that healing. And so I really do enjoy his content. Um, yeah. Uh, so let's see. Gambian. Yeah. Oh yeah, he did a video about people from the Gambian region. Boogie Maya. He just like I don't know. It's just when I think of him, he's always like, let's party, you know? Or yeah, you know. But yeah, no, I think ultimately his energy. I think I think about healing. Healing some of the Orions who also need healing as well. And I think he's getting there. When I mean Orions, like, of course, with the Orions I connect with, I feel like it's really in that healing part of Orion, but he's connecting with the other parts of Orion or the other African people who really also would like to have that healing and that good energy as well, and I think they're getting there. So. Yeah. Anyways, uh, oh yeah, here's the Sardinian connection that I was talking about. I just kind of wanted to round this off, kind of reconnecting with the rest of the energy, um, in a healing way, of course, because it is all part of the rainbow. So, uh, yeah, and then when I think about, you know, Saudi, for example, I think about the film Saint Francis of Assisi, and I think about the scene where he's healing the Muslims or some of the people from Arabia. And where was that scene? It was a really good scene because Again, even though I'm not necessarily Christian or even Catholic per se, I connect. I see him as a healer in a healing way. And yeah, what was that scene? I think he visits the Sultan. Um, let me look. Yeah, here. So you can see at the beginning of the film. You know, he has this anger about him, but he eventually heals him with love and with care. And yeah, let me play it real quick for you guys, just so you can. Uh, yeah. So I'll share this part really quick because I think it's a very powerful scene. Hopefully it's okay to share about.
War upon war will return until we will become the yourself.
God go with me.
Stop. Don't kill yourself. Return to your people in safety and tell the Christians that if they were all like you, I would not hesitate to kneel to your God. And if our peoples continue to pursue the ways of hate, then war upon war will return until we will become the destroyers of the world. Only Allah knows which of us is right. I will arrange a safe journey for you to the city of your Christ, Jerusalem. Stay there in peace. You have not made a Christian today, but you have made a true friend.
That is the first step. Peace be with you.
Yeah. And see, I love that scene. I think it's just so powerful because when I think that when I see people say negative things about Arabs or people from the Middle East or you know, I think they really forget about uh, the healing message that you know Francis, for example, he showed to some of the people from Arabia, because some people try to see them as all bad or all evil or subhuman, and it's very a lot of derogatory terms really. But the reality is that when he you know when you see scenes like this and you show your heart, I think it's so important to see the beauty in that. Um, and I'm gonna see and I'll play a little bit more of this where he talks here.
Prepared to die for peace.
You die a brave man, but you are not reasonable. You want me to worship your Christ, but I reply, you come to Mohammed. You embrace the faith of the great prophet of God. There also lies peace.
Order your servants to build a great fire. Let me and your priest enter its flames. Then God may show us whose is the greater faith.
My priests do not appear eager to submit to your test. However, I'll see to it that they accept your challenge. Have a fire built in front of the tent that you speak of.
If they do, it is because I love them.
Here is a gold coin. And tell Ali to kill him immediately. Take him! Out!
I'm the enemy of no man. The God of love sends me to speak with you, King of the East.
I am told you speak to animals, and they understand your words.
If they do, it is because I love them, as I love all God's creatures.
You love us too? Your enemies?
Of course.
This God you speak of, why did he send you to see me?
To reach your heart. Not with the sword, but with his love. Through the love in my heart.
All this love. You wish to surrender your armies?
They're not mine to surrender. I ask only for peace.
How can there be peace with no surrender?
If you would embrace the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ, peace must follow.
I didn't learn your language to hear these insults. You wish to die?
I am prepared to die for peace.
You die a brave man, but you are not reasonable. You want me to worship your Christ, but I reply, you come to Mohammed. You embrace the faith of the great prophet of God. Challenge. Gov.
Yeah, and so, I love the ending part of this where, yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit more of it before I go because I think it's just so important to share this video, for anyone who just wants to see the healing message that Assisi's shared. And it's not really even about converting people uh, to Christianity or any of that, or because that's not what it's really about. Because even Yeshua, in a channeled message, he said, "I'm not a Christian. We are all sons and daughters of the rainbow." And I think this is what Assisi's wanted to show to the Christians and the Christians, the Crusaders, and also the Muslims and the jihadists. You see.
Oh, Sultan, I beg you, do not sacrifice me for this man's madness.
Allah has not been served well today. But fear in a few priests is not enough to prove that you are right.
Then I will enter the fire alone.
Have you no fear at all?
I fear only my sins. For if I should be burned to death, it would be due only to them. But if God protects me, you must admit that both his power and compassion are very great.
I would.
Then will you promise, both for yourself and for your people, that if I come out of this fire unharmed, you will embrace the faith of my God?
What is it that gives you such courage? To plunder and destroy?
But in the more perfect, they would need less my faith in God's love.
Is it your God's great love that drives Christians to fight wars? To kill? To plunder and destroy? Do they deserve sacrifices such as yours?
If men were more perfect, they would need less compassion. God is not in the sword or in the taking of life, but in the giving of life. For he is love. God go with me.
And tell the Christians that
Yeah.
you have made a true friend.
That is the first step. Peace be with you.
Yeah, and I think it's such a healing message because now I know in this case, right now, some of the Jews or Mr. Yahoo or whoever they might say, I'm not Christian, I'm Jewish. But I think the reality is it doesn't matter what label you have because what the Crusaders, some of them tried to do in the past when they were trying to conquer Israel from the Muslims was really no different than what some of the Jews who came in wanted to do to Palestine as well. And so we have to be honest that that there's been um, trying to see how to word this. There has been a middle ground that's been needed, to bring that healing for all those in the land of Canaan, who need that healing, or in the Levant. And yeah, no, and so I wanted to share that scene, especially for those who try to say, oh, all the Arabs or all Muslims are all bad people, because that's not really true. I think a lot of them just really needed to be shown love and to, like this man in the film, and it wasn't easy to show him love, but I think Assisi's came to his heart, not trying to, and I think his main message wasn't really just trying to convert people to a certain religion, quote unquote. It was really primarily to open his heart, as Yeshua had done for others and for the Pharisees, who were also Jews, and also for with the Buddha, who also wanted to open the hearts of others as well, and many other leaders as well. So I wanted to share that real quick. I thought it was such a powerful message. So um, all right. So before I end the stream, I just love this rainbow. It's so beautiful, having all the different colors, all the different tribes. Um, so you can see here how it's connecting me with different groups such as Miztec and Zapotec. And this might also be connection to also maybe some of the Mayans and also Mesoamerican readings I got earlier, and even maybe Central America potentially. Then here you have Quechua, Inuit, an American Amerindian North, which was also really close. Fortunately, they don't have Mapuche as a group here, which is a shame. I think so far it's relatively limited. Uh, but I kind of go off the readings of what I got in Genome Link, at least as a starting point, because they also do the look at the chromosomes and all that jazz. Um, so yeah, and you can see how some of the Ashkenazi really have some of them have a close relationship to some of the other European groups since they also kind of mixed. Um, but again, I don't think it warrants, putting other people down or spitting on nuns or any of that, because that's not a healing thing to do. And yeah, so but yeah, because yeah, it was just a a video I watched where some of the Jews in Israel were spitting on some Catholic nuns, and it's not I don't think it's the right thing to do. But anyways, we're all individuals, and I think that I have actually met some Ashkenazi Jews that actually meant well, because my mom had some friends that were Jewish, and I would sometimes go to Shabbos, which would be every Friday, and it was pretty much in lieu of the Sabbath that some of the Jews practice every week, and and they were all very open with me. My mom had a friend named Dr. Saul or David that I connected well as his wife Trish. And it didn't matter what your belief system was, where you were from. They would invite you to your house and to their house. And they were very, very kind. And there's also a Rebbe I had met, one of David's friends or acquaintances. And when I looked at his heart, I could see he had a good heart deep down. I really do believe that. And I could hear him saying, thank you, Louis. I appreciate that. Because I mean what I say. It's like with Bushido. If you don't just follow your what you say, but you also show it by example. You really mean what you say. And so I could see him smiling. I feel like he has a good heart. He had and has a good heart deep down. So. And of course, not all the Jewish people or those who identify as such, um, or really, I don't just say Jewish, but also ancient Canaanites as well. Because before they were called Jews, they were ancient Canaanites. They were all different tribes. Um, I feel like there are some who really don't support what's going on right now in the Middle East with harming the people in Gaza. So I feel that having that healing circle where people can heal and do the right thing, I think is important. So uh yeah, it's a lot of powerful messages I've been getting. A lot of powerful, some might say downloads, other might say other things. But yeah, no, I think it's important to really bring that rainbow and really help them heal. Because I think that's the most important thing we can do, I think. Oh, here's some of the Scandinavian, by the way, Norwegian, Swedish, Danish is not on here, but just for that connection with Bjorn. Again, we're all. It's like the Lakota say, "Mitaku ya oyasin." We are all are connected. in a healing way, and ultimately, in a healing way, and that we can all share the rainbow, even with some of the grays that need healing. And I feel like I've helped my dad's wife find that healing as well as that man that said, I don't want to be that hateful German soldier anymore. I don't want to be a hateful Nazi, and or just like with Francis and how he helped the Muslims and and some of the Arabs like with the Sultanate. So it's all healing, all ultimately healing. So, but anyways, guys, I wanted to share that healing rainbow, and I hope that I know this is a longer video, but I felt it was important to share this, to share the healing energy and the healing love that can be shared, for all the tribes, all Mitakuya Oyasin, all the four directions, or not even just four directions, I call it infinite rainbow directions, even beyond infinity in a healing way. But anyways, I'll be heading off for now, guys. Hope you take care. Slongafol. Bye for now.